Hi everyone, I hope you all watched the previous video. Let's start the session. The process of emission of electrons from metal by UV rays is answer is photoelectric emission. Okay, the phenomena of emission of electrons by a certain metal surface when radiation of suitable frequency is incident on it is called photoelectric effect, and emitted electrons are called photoelectrons. Okay. A man pushes against a truck with a force of 15 newtons. The truck does not move. What is the amount of force exerted by the truck on the man? Answer is 15 newtons. Okay. This is because of Newton's third law. If the force were more than the potential energy of the truck, then the truck would have moved. Okay. Formerly, Newton's third law is for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, right? The statement means that in every interaction, there is a pair of forces acting on the two interacting objects. Okay, the size of forces on the first object equals the size of the force on the second object. Okay, keep that in mind. Name a device through which the truthiness of human being is examined. Answer is polygraph. Okay. Polygraph, popularly referred to as lie detector test, is a device or procedure that measures and records several physiological indicators such as blood pressure, pulse, respiration, and skin conductivity while a person is asking and answering a series of questions. Okay, through which device the illumination and intensity of two light sources are compared. Answer is photometer. Okay. A photometer is an instrument that measures the strength of electromagnetic radiation in the range from ultraviolet to infrared and included the visible spectrum. Okay. Most photometric convert light into an electric current using a photoresistor. The two lights to be compared were used to cast a shadow onto paper. Okay. Which equipment is employed to project or expose pictures on the screen? That is epideiascope. Okay, epideiascope or episcope is a device which displays opaque materials by shining a bright lamp onto the object from the above. Okay, a system of mirrors, prisms, or imaging lenses used to focus an image of the material onto the viewing screen. Okay, the device that confirms the presence of electric charge. The device that confirms the presence of electric charge is electroscope. Okay, name a device which is used to convert mechanical energy into electrical energy. It's a easy question, right? Everyone knows that, right? It is dynamo. Okay, through which equipment humans' heartbeat are recorded and detected via graphics. The answer is cardiograph. Okay, who measured the velocity of light first? Velocity of light measured by it is Romer. Okay, around 1676 he measured that. Okay, speed of light. Why impurities are added to semiconductors? There are two types of charge carriers in semiconductors. They are electrons and holes. Since conductivity depends on the number of charge carriers per unit volume, the conductivity increases. Okay, so impurity is added to increase the carrier concentration. Okay, so here the answer to increase the electric conductivity. Okay, which object does not reflect more light? That is unpolished light. Object, sorry. What is the electric potential of neutral wire? Neutral wire electric potential is 0 volt. Okay, how much electric potential does the live wire carry? It is around 220 volts. Okay, the live wire carries current to appliance at high voltage. In fact, it carries the 220 volt AC used by most of the home appliances. Okay, the earth wire is a safety wire and connects the metal case of the appliance to the earth. Where do we use transformers? Power stations, radio, television, all of the above. Okay. Which of the following parts is not there in AC generator? Here the answer is commutator. Okay. Commutator is not present in generator. Which of the following parts of the generator is stationary to produce electricity in large powerhouses? The answer is coil. Okay. Generators have two important parts. One is the rotor, which rotates, and the stator, which remains stationary. Coil is the stationary part of generator. Okay. For a body moving with non-uniform velocity and uniform acceleration, okay, displacement time graph is non-linear. Okay. Snell's law is related to Snell's law is related to the refraction. Okay. It is formula used to describe the relationship between the angle of incidence and refraction. Okay, and referring to light or other waves passing through a boundary between two different isotropic media such as water or glass or air. Okay, Snell's law is here. I am gonna write the formula. Okay, n1 into sine theta 1 and 2 into sine theta 2. Okay. Here, N1 and N2 are represents the refractive index of two different media involved in the refraction of light. Okay, so here we consider this is the normal line. Okay, this is N1, this is N2 medium. Okay, so incident ray from N1 and refracted ray from N2. Okay, an electron microscope gives higher magnification than the optical microscope because the wavelength of electron is smaller as compared to the wavelength of visible light. Okay. Who invented the mobile phone? Answer is Martin Cooper. Okay. For television broadcasting, the frequency employed is normally answer is around 30 to 300 megahertz. Okay. Very high frequency band having frequency range from 300 megahertz to 300 megahertz is typically used for the TV and radar transmissions. Okay, a digital signal is a more reliable than analog signal. Okay, digital signal refers to an electric signal that is converted into a pattern of bits. Okay, unlike an analog signal, which is continuous signal that contains time varying quantities. A digital signal has a discrete value at each sampling point and is more reliable than analog signal. Okay, so here the answer is more reliable than analog signal. A digital signal processes only two discrete values. Okay, digital signal is a signal that is being used to represent data as a sequence of discrete values. Okay, at any given time, it can only take on one of a finite number of values. Okay. In electromagnetism, which among the following is correct definition of permeability? Answer is the ability of a material to support the formation of magnetic field within itself. Okay. In electromagnetism, permeability is a measure of ability of a material to support the formation of magnetic field within itself, otherwise known as distributed inductance in transmission line theory. Okay, hence it is the degree of magnetization that a material obtains in response to an applied magnetic field. An electric fuse is used to interrupt excessive. Answer is current. Okay, a fuse is an electrical safety device that operates to provide overcurrent protection of the electrical circuit. Its essential component is a metal wire or strip that melts when too much current flows through it, thereby interrupting the current flow. Okay. Which among the following component of a fluorescent lamp contributes maximum in making them costly? Answer is ballast. Okay. The inclusion of ballast in each individual bulb raises the cost of the bulb, but the overall cost of the consumer is still lower because of reduced energy consumption and the longer life of the bulb. Okay. When a body falls from an aeroplane, there is an increase in its kinetic energy. Okay. Water is suitable as calorimetric substance because it has a high specific heat. Okay. If the calorimeter had a high specific heat, it would absorb more heat, but its temperature would not increase much. Okay. Differences in temperature cause heat transfer, so a smaller difference in temperature between calorimeter and surrounding air would mean less heat transfer from the calorimeter to the surroundings. Okay, therefore, a calorimeter with a high specific heat would be more effective because it would minimize heat transfer between the calorimeter and surroundings. Okay, the method of magnetization is passing direct current through it. Okay, the characteristic invalid for heat radiation is that it travels. It is the speed of light. Okay, the device employed to measure the diameter of stars and our galaxy is called, that is photometer. Okay, A wire carrying current is, it is a wire carrying current is a current carrying wire has free electrons which are moving and hence cause the current to flow. But there are equal positive ions present in the wire which form the resistance and hence a wire carrying current is electrically neutral. Okay, so the answer is neutral. Okay, the waveform of a certain signal can be studied by, answer is cathode ray oscilloscope or also known as oscilloscope. Okay, the equipment through which an substance be cut into very small pieces. The answer is microtome. Okay, microtome. It's a tool used to cut extremely thin slices of material. Okay. Name an instrument used to measure the sound wave inside the water. That is hydrophone. Okay. In projectors, which lenses are used? That is convex lens. Okay. Convex lens is used in projectors to get magnified image as shown in the theaters. Okay. Convex lens is placed in front of object such that object is between focus and two times the focus. Okay, the mass energy relation is the outcome of, it is the outcome of special theory of relativity. Okay, the equation is E equals to mc square. Everyone knows that, right? Name a device used to measure the sharpness of electric current. Answer is galvanometer. Okay, which device is used to measure the depth of seas and ocean? That is bathymeter. Okay, the following is measured in a ton of oil equivalent. Okay, answer is energy released by burning of oil. Okay, who among the following coined the term cosmic rays? So the answer is Robert Millikan. Okay, Millikan was convinced that penetrating radiation entering the atmosphere was electromagnetic. Okay, and coined the term cosmic rays in a paper where he argued that cosmic rays were the birth crisis of atoms in the galaxy. Okay, which among the following is the most acceptable range of low Earth orbit? That is 160 to 2000 kilometers. Okay, which among the following is a beyond visual range air-to-air missile? That is Astra. Okay, Astra is indigenously developed beyond visual range air-to-air missile. Okay, the radiator in car serves to cool the engine. Okay, the ratio of the total distance traveled by the body to the total time taken by it is called, that is average speed. Okay, that is the color of insulation covering on live wire. Live wire, that is red. Okay, that means danger. What is color of insulation covering on neutral wire? Okay, neutral wire is black. Okay, if a band is played on the moon, sorry, the sound will not heard at any distance at all from it. Okay, as there is no atmosphere surrounding the moon, The sound from any band that is played there cannot travel outwards. There is no material medium surrounding it for its propagation. Okay. Which famous scientist was the first to look at the night sky through the telescope? That is Galileo. Okay. Of this session, a plain glass slab is kept over colored letter, the letter which appears least range is, that is red. Okay. So that's all for today. Let's meet in the next class.